Okay, guys, good morning. How are you all? I'm fantastic today. Hopefully, everybody's having a fantastic start to the morning, and this will brighten it up. I'm going to start doing this in the morning. I was kind of thinking about doing it in the evening, but I kind of think morning's probably better, so I'm going to squeeze it in. So here we are: event plus response equals outcome. So the basic idea of every outcome you experience in life, whether it's a success or a failure, wealth or poverty, health or illness, intimacy or estrangement, joy or frustration, is the result of how we have responded to an earlier event in our lives. If you don't like the outcome you're currently getting, then there are two basic choices you can make. You can blame the event for your lack of results, which is the outcome. In other words, you can blame the economy, the weather, the lack of money, morning Alana, your lack of education, racism, gender bias, the current administration in the government, your parents, your wife, your husband, your boss's attitude, your employers, your system, the lack of the systems, and so on and so forth. You probably get the drift. If you're a golfer, you've probably even blamed your clubs and the course you've played on. What's the expression? Bad workman always blames their tools. No doubt all these factors do exist, but if they were the deciding factor, no one would actually ever succeed. Jackie Robinson would never have played Major Baseball League. Barack Obama would never have become President of the United States. Sidney Poitier and Denzel Washington would never have become movie stars if that was the case. And Barbara Boxer would never have become a US Senator. Bill Gates would never have founded Microsoft. Steve Jobs would never have started Apple Computers. For every reason why it's not possible, there are hundreds of people that have faced the same circumstances and succeeded. Lots of people, those are so-called limiting factors, so it can't be limiting factors that actually limit you. It's not the external conditions and the circumstances that actually stop you. It's you. We stop ourselves. We think lingering thoughts and engage in self-defeating behaviours. Morning, Anne-Marie. We think thoughts and self-defeating behaviours. We defend our self-destructive habits, such as drinking, smoking, not getting enough sleep, with indefensible logic. We ignore useful feedback, fail to continuously educate ourselves with new and learn new skills, waste time on trivial aspects of our lives, engage in idle gossip, eat unhealthy food, fail to exercise, spend more money than we make, fail to invest in our future, avoid necessary conflict, fail to tell us the uncomfortable truth, don't ask for what we want, and we wonder why our lives don't work out. Now, I'm smiling all the way through this because I've done this. You can instead simply change your responses, which is R in the event, to the events, which is E. And the way things are until you get the outcomes you want. So remember, when you think about it, the event, it happens to you, and the response you have to it determines the outcome. You can change your thinking, change your communication, change the pictures you hold in your head, your images of yourself and the world, and change your behaviour and the things you do. That's all you really have to control in your life. Unfortunately, most of us are so run by our habits that we never change our behaviour. We get stuck in our conditioned responses to our spouses, to our children, to our colleagues at work, to our customers, to our clients, to our students, to the world at large. We're all bundles conditioned of reflexes and that operate outside of our control. You have to regain control of your thoughts up here, your images, your dreams, and your daydreams, and your behaviour. Everything you think, say, and do needs to be intentional and aligned with the purpose and your values and your goals. If you don't like the outcomes, simply change your responses. Let's look at some examples how this has worked in the past. Okay, So there was a terrible earthquake in Los Angeles. 2 days later, Jack Canfield watched CNN reporter interview the people to communicate about what was going on. The earthquake had damaged one of the major freeways leading into the city. The traffic was at a standstill, and it was normally 1 hour, which had become a 2-hour and 3-hour drive. So the CNN reporter knocked on the window of one of the cars and stuck in the traffic and asked the driver how he was doing. He responded angrily, "I hate California. First there were fires, then floods, and now an earthquake. No matter what time I leave in the morning, I'm going to be late for work. This sucks." Then the reporter knocked on the window of a car behind him and asked the second driver the same questions. The driver was all smiles and replied, "It's no problem. I left my house at 5 a.m. I don't think under the circumstances my boss can ask for more than that. I have lots of music. My Spanish language lessons are with me as well on my audio tapes. I've got my cell phone, I've got my coffee and my thermos, I've got my lunch. I even brought a book to read. So I'm fine." Now, if the earthquake or the traffic, which is the event, were really the deciding variables, then everyone would have been angry at that event. But everyone wasn't. And that was their individual response to the traffic that gave them the particular outcome. It was thinking negative thoughts or thinking positive thoughts, leaving the house prepared or leaving the house unprepared, that made the difference in these people's lives. It was all a matter of attitude and behaviour that created the completely different outcomes and responses in what they were doing. I've heard there's going to be a recession, but I've decided not to take part. A friend of mine owns a Lexus dealership. This is Jack Canfield, remember, in South California. When the war in the Middle East broke out, people stopped coming in to buy Lexuses. My friend and his sales teams knew that if they didn't change their responses, which is the R in the equation, to the event, which is the E, of nobody coming into the showroom morning on, then they were going to slowly go out of business. Their normal response would have been to continue to place ads in the newspaper and on the radio, and then wait for the people to come to the dealership. But this wasn't working. The outcome they were getting was steady decreasing the sales. So they tried a couple of new things. The one that worked was driving a fleet of new cars out to where the rich people were, the country clubs, the marinas, the polo clubs, the grounds, the Beverly Hills parties, the Westlake villages, Lakewood, Lake Sherwood, and then inviting them to take a spin in their new Lexus. Now think about this. Have you ever test driven a car and then got back into your old car? Remember that feeling of dissatisfaction that you felt as you compared your old car to the new car you'd just been driving? Your old car was fine up until then, but suddenly you knew that there was something better and you wanted it. The same thing happened with these folks. After test driving the new car, a high percentage of these people went on and bought and leased the new Lexus car. The dealership had changed their response to an unexpected event, the war, until they got the outcome, increased sales, that they wanted. They actually ended up selling more cars per week than they'd ever sold before the war broke out. So everything you experience today is the result of the choices that you have made in the past. Everything you experience today is the result of the choices you've made in the past. Remember that. Everything you experience in life, both internally and externally, is the result of how you've responded to the previous events. So the event, for example, you're given a £400 bonus. You spend it on a night out in the town with the friends. Outcome, you're broke. Event, you're given a £400 bonus. You invest it in a mutual fund. Outcome, you've increased your wealth. See how easy that is? So the event plus the response equals the outcome. It's how you respond to the event. You have control over these three things in your life: the thoughts that you think, the images that you visualize, and the actions that you take. That's your behavior. How you use these three things determines everything you experience in life. If you don't like what you're producing and experiencing, you have to change your responses. Change your negative thoughts to positive ones. Change your daydream at what you daydream about. Change your habits. Change what you read. Change your friends. Some people are toxic. Stay away from them. Change how you talk to yourself and others. And you keep on doing what you've always done, remember, you'll always get what you've always got. So if you keep on doing what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. It won't change for you. You have to change some things in your life to change some things in your life. So the 12-step program, such as Alcoholics Anonymous, define insanity as continuing the same behavior but expecting a different result. It ain't going to happen. If you're an alcoholic and you keep drinking, your life isn't going to get any better. Likewise, if you only continue in your current behaviors, your life isn't going to get any better either. The day you change your responses is the day your life will begin to get better. If what you're currently doing would produce the more and the better that you're seeking in life, the more and the better that you've already shown up, then keep doing it. If you want something different, you're going to have to do something different. So you've got to give up blaming people and everything else around you. And I'll see you tomorrow morning.